Hi, I think it's recording
Hi.
now, so we can start. My name is Aino, and I'm the founder of Friendsday, which is a sustainable fashion business. And I make colorful and comfortable clothing for people who really value our natural resources. And I'm talking with Hannah, who's my dear friend and a superstar. Hi,
You're
Hannah.
a superstar too.
Well, I know what you do. I know that you are like this one of these Renaissance ladies. You're a yoga teacher and an art teacher and a musician and a potter and a health coach. And you've also been modeling for me. Remember that? So maybe some people who are watching might recognize you from the product pictures on my website.
Yes,
But
I
anyway,
have a
today
side.
I wanted to talk with you. Of course, you are a health coach, and we are in the midst of a global health situation.
Yeah.
And I really want to offer people something that's really valuable and uplifting and maybe helpful for them. So thank you so much for talking with me.
Great. My pleasure.
Yay,
Always happy to talk with you.
yay. Do you want to tell, like, put it in your words what you do?
Sure. Well, I do all those things that you mentioned, but most of my time right now is spent practicing Ayurveda, which is the medical science associated with yoga. So it's really focusing on helping people heal whatever imbalances they have, which is how we view disease, is it's just an imbalance off the path of ease, puts you in a state of dis-ease. And so I work with people mostly with diet and lifestyle changes and herbal medicine. And so I've been doing that more full time than any of the other things, although
Mm-hmm.
I love doing all those other things too.
Okay, that's great. I feel like I've learned a lot from you already, like about all that. I've been going to your yoga classes, and then just like listening to you talk about Ayurveda and all things food and how like super excited you are about that. I've already also like learned a lot, like to prepare some dishes and
Yeah.
to think about it more and in a different way. That's really cool. And in a way, I feel like our big whys are kind of similar, like our businesses and how we want to like make a positive change, and that's
Absolutely.
really really inspiring to me.
Yeah, I was just thinking I've learned a lot from you about like sustainable fashion and to be more aware of where my clothing comes from and how it's made and supporting indie fashion and people that are making clothes and to really think about the impact, the downstream or upstream implications of those choices too. So I've learned a lot from you as well.
Yay, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like how people are kind of familiar with the concept of whole foods, like to prepare whole foods, but then sustainable fashion might not be so familiar. But then if you would switch the words to say sustainable food or whole fashion, then that would be a fun game to like think about the same thing. Like you
Yeah.
are um, concentrating on wellness, like inside the people's bodies, and then I'm thinking of what's on their bodies.
Right. We have the perfect combination.
Yeah, it's a good match.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to ask you, because it's now end of April 2020, and the whole world is kind of like, oh, what's happening, and people are in the middle of a big change, and some people can't work, and it's weird for all of us. Then,
Yeah.
like, how have you been doing, and how have you been like keeping yourself sane and healthy and happy?
Mm. Um, yes. Well, I just want to acknowledge that we are in a very uncertain time, and lots of people are in limbo with what they're doing for work, or, you know, having children home and how to handle things. And it's really thrown a lot of people for a loop. And for me personally, I would say it hasn't been that big of a shift because I already work mostly online. But what I found is that I just come back to such gratitude for the practices of yoga and Ayurveda, because I feel like they have given me the sustainability, the inner sustenance to be able to flow with what's happening in the external world. But um, with yoga, I committed to teach yoga online every morning at 7:30. So that is something that has been a great accountability for me, as well as helping lots of other people, is that I can't, you know, sleep in and be like, I'm not getting up today, or, you know, just like it keeps me on a schedule. Like I have to be up by 6 a.m. to get my morning practices in of meditation and setting up and being ready and in a centered place to show up for the people that are doing yoga with me online. Additionally, just the practices of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is really about, well, Aryu means life and Veda means wisdom or knowledge. So Ayurveda means the wisdom of life or the knowledge of life. And I really think of it more like an owner's manual of like each of us having guidance of how we can live with our individual constitutions. And so having that knowledge in this time of uncertainty has been so wonderful, because there's what we call dinacharya, which is the daily practices of just like what we do to keep ourselves in rhythm with nature. So it's been incredibly interesting for me with this crisis that is really like, many of us are seeing it as Mother Nature being like, hello, wake up. Like you can't keep degrading the environment and jet setting all over the globe and using lots of resources without some consequences, right? So Ayurveda is all about living in rhythm with nature. So Dinacharya is living in rhythm with the daily cycles of night and day, with the, you know, your biggest meal being in the middle of the day when the sun is at its height and your digestive fire is the strongest. That's just an example. But also Rutacharya, which is the seasonal rhythms, so that we're looking at, well, here we are in springtime, and here's the ways in which we each, with our unique constitutions, need to interact with that. So I feel like if I didn't have this wisdom from Ayurveda and yoga, which are woven together, they're from the same tradition, that I would be really lost and really challenged right now. More than anything, I feel a call to show up for people right now to help. I feel like Ayurveda is needed now more than ever. And I really feel that as a call to action from this time of like, I got to get to work, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot just to keep myself in my daily rhythms, and then be able to share from a grounded place what can help other people who are feeling more challenged. I totally get that it's a real, it's a reality for a lot of people.
Yay, that sounds
Yeah.
very nice, and sounds, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Like it sounds like you have tools, like more tools to survive this than an average person like me, for example. I mean, I've been like kind of really concentrating on how to like sleep a lot, like
Yes.
to sleep enough, because otherwise if I'm tired then everything feels harder. And then I think I'm gonna do this like challenge where like list 20 things that, like 20 good things that have come out of this, even though it sounds like a lot and kind of hard, but I think I can do it. I think that's a good thing to like just challenge yourself with.
Yeah.
Have you found some like silver linings or some things that good things come out of this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me personally, yes, So I moved my business home. So I'm working from my house, and it's been really sweet to be with my new family. So for, just a little background, I just moved to be with my partner in Floyd, Virginia in January, and he has 2 children. And so I just got what I call my Insta family. And so it's been really great to have more time with them, but I'm also working a lot. So it's like, but I pause and like we all have meals together and things like that. And that is really lovely. I feel more connected with getting to know the land right around where I'm now living, just getting to go for walks and explore the woods. And that's been really lovely. And just connecting a lot more with my partner, David, has been really, really nice. And I feel like I've heard this from many people, but that this invitation for our lives to slow down a little bit felt like a personal savior, like coming in and being like, here you go. Because I was traveling a lot to teach Ayurveda, and I just in the past month canceled 4 trips. And so even just having that, like, oh, I don't have to travel, I can just stay home, has been really nice. Even though I love traveling and I love teaching, it's been permission to just let that rest for a while. And that's been really nice. On a more like global perspective, I feel really excited in terms of the potential for our collective evolution right now. Honestly, I just feel like it is a wake up call that we've been needing to have for a while. And I hope that enough people are seeing and hearing that we reconsider how we're living so that we don't go back to normal, that there's not a return to where we were without a shift from this time being transformative for each of us. What that looks like, I don't know. I'm kind of living the question along with everybody else. But I do think that that invitation is there, and we need to stay collectively in the conversation to see where it gets us. Like,
Yeah.
how are we going to live differently? How can we take more responsibility for the ways in which we impact the earth and each other, and utilizing resources and going so fast? Like, since when did doing everything faster become our ideal?
I know.
It's
I
like
think exactly.
a chance to question.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the fast pace a lot too, because like the opposite of sustainable fashion is fast fashion, and it
Yeah.
comes from that like pace that's just way too fast for the world, for the earth, or for the people working in those factories making that clothing, and it's just too much. Like last week was Earth Week and Fashion Revolution Week, and both of them exist because we're just noticing that something's wrong and we can't like it's not sustainable for anybody, like small scale or big scale, like not
Yeah.
for any, yeah, in the long term. And also
Yeah.
personally I feel like you said, the slowing down in the everyday life, like having small kids and like pre-K and school and homework and like driving back and forth, and it's, yeah, it's definitely one of my silver linings as well, just the slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the morning when I wake up before the kids, and then I like let myself think about stuff or maybe do a meditation, like a guided meditation in bed, and then at some point the kids just crawl to my bed, and that's pretty sweet. Then we can like start this next day snuggling instead of
Yeah.
like running around and trying to like make it on time.
Right.
5
Yeah.
days a week, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great for kids right now too, to not feel the pressure.
Yeah, and I also like definitely feeling the gratitude of being in a place where that's like a good thing, and then
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's a tricky place, like not sure how to like help people who aren't, like feel and notice, and to realize that that's a big privilege to be in a life where it's crazy, but I don't need to like be scared or worried.
Right. Well, I think what is interesting about this time is that it's not individual. People that have lost jobs or can't pay their rent or whatever, it's not personal anymore. It's global.
Yeah.
Right. And so we are all in it together, and we can't start, the conversation about like, well, I can't pay my rent or I can't, it's like, that conversation doesn't make sense anymore in a way. It's like we all are challenged in whatever, I'm still working, my partner is not, but that we are all doing what we can where we are with what we have, and that it's not personal. Like in other times in life, it would be like, oh, I lost my job, or, it's going to be really hard for me to pay rent this month or make the mortgage. It's like, it's a global issue now. And so it is more of it's like we all got to figure it out together, right? It's not like, oh, whatever, that person is, doesn't have their crap together, so they're gonna figure, they're gonna suffer, but I'm fine over here. It's like, no, we're all feeling this, and we're all needing to be part of the bigger conversation. I like what you said though about fast fashion and sustainable fashion, because I think the same could be said about food, and I'd never thought about it that way before. But like, there's like sustainable agriculture, and then there's fast food, right? Like fast food isn't food. It's not nourishing. It doesn't feed, what we call like your ojas, which is your essential vitality sap. Fast food doesn't do that, right? It like feeds the heaviness, like the dull qualities, what we call tamas. It's like the lethargic, dull, heaviness. It's like fast fashion, does that too.
The same thing. It's meant to like be thrown away. It's like a same thing. It's just
disposable.
Like, disposable, and meant to be like thrown away before you even wash it. It's a crazy design to begin with, to like make something just to be thrown away, and it doesn't have like any value, or like negative value if something.
It's just interesting to think about in both of those contexts.
I'm really, really hoping that we all learn something and see better, like what kind of effect humans have on this earth, and I think it's about time we just figure it out in a kinder way. Do you have some tips, like mental health or physical health, or anything that you could share with people? And then also, like, I know that you are doing a whole lot to help. Like you said, you're like, that's your work now, to like help and lift up people, like be lifting up. And I'm gonna take part in some of that, and I know my husband is doing your yoga classes. And do you want to share some tips, and then what you're offering?
Sure. I think my overarching tip for everybody right now is to have a routine that you stick to every day. That for this time right now that has us kind of thrown into a state of uncertainty, that it's very calming and grounding for the nervous system, which is really what we need to treat during this time, to have a routine and a schedule. That being said, there's some pieces there that I would plug in. So in general, just have a routine. Don't have every day be haphazard and no structure. Structure is what will help us be able to lean back into the structure and then be able to cultivate clarity about what is next. If there's no structure, then we're just functioning in chaos, and chaos doesn't always produce the best results. So within the structure of a daily routine, I would recommend a few things. One is to wake up before the sunrise. which is really great for decreasing feelings of anxiety and depression. And let your energy build with the sun. That time right before the sunrise is so precious and very powerful. If you look at any religious or spiritual tradition, it's the time when everybody meditates, is before the dawn. It's very powerful, whether you meditate or not, but to let yourself get up in the ease of that early morning time and let your energy build with the daylight coming. Second of all, I encourage everybody to eat their largest meal in the middle of the day. That's something I mentioned before, but it's really important for your metabolism, for your support of your energy. It's the rhythm that your body is happiest with, and to really cook good food. We're home, we can all cook, eat really good food. Okay, eat good food. We can go into that more on another day, what that looks like. And then the next thing in a daily flow would be to finish eating by 6 p.m. And I'm running an earlier, later dinner challenge next month, which I can touch on in a moment. So finish eating before 6 p.m. No more food. You can have tea after that, but no more food after that. And then to go to sleep before 10 p.m., ideally earlier. Right now, because we're adjusting to this new reality and things shifting every day, we need more sleep. We need more rest. So I love that you're doing that. I know, focusing on getting good sleep. And so those are my basic little tips of really taking care of ourselves. Movement is great, making sure you're not stagnating in your energy body. So in terms of what I'm offering to help with those things, I do a morning yoga practice every morning on Facebook as a Facebook Live at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, but there's no reason you can't watch it later if you want to. You don't have to be there. And those are all up. So I've been doing this for 36 days now, and all those practices are on the page. So the page is called Yoga and More Day by Day with Hannah Levin. So you can check that out. And that's offered for free. I do welcome donations, but it's available to everybody to partake of yoga daily. So this is, again, something that you can put in your schedule. Just like, there's many people that are doing this, just like getting up every day, doing yoga with me. And it's really powerful for their daily rhythms. Inside that group, I'm going to be doing an earlier, later dinner challenge, May 4th through May 12th. And again, this is free. So you can learn more about Ayurveda, more about living in rhythm with the cycles of the day, and practice what it feels like to have an earlier, later dinner, get more information about that. And then I run a year-long program for women that's called the Vitality Circle. So it's really about helping guide people in a really easeful way. So it's a year long, so it's incremental change over time into living a life that's totally aligned with the seasons. So you get to journey through each season during the year, and understanding your personal constitution really well, and being part of a group. So it's a community that's having these conversations around this ancient wisdom of Ayurveda, modern behavioral science, and now with our current evolution, we're doing a lot of just really recognizing what is shifting for each of us with this change. So those are some things that I do, and you can find everything that I'm doing at heartfeltwellbeing.com, heartfeltwellbeing, all one word, .com. And yeah, I just welcome folks to come check out what I'm doing. Happy to support you.
Yay. I can put those links in the place where I'm putting this video too.
Awesome.
It's just one click away.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question about the getting up before the sun. What if you happen to live in a country where the sun doesn't go down?
Yes. Yeah. So I got to experience that with you when I was in Finland for summer solstice, right? And then same in the winter where it's like there's only a few hours of sunlight, right? You're not sleeping the whole time. So that's when you would go to a doshic clock alignment. So within Ayurveda, we work with this dosha clock, and it would be that you would wake up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m. So that's the basic alignment. But when you live in a place where there's more 4 seasons and it's not so extreme, you can flow more with the day and the night. So good question.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you. Okay, another question that comes to my mind about the earlier lighter dinner. What about kids? Is that a thing for them to do as well? Like just to not have anything after dinner?
Yeah, it is ideal. It's interesting because we think about kids needing to snack, and they do have higher metabolisms and need more frequent meals. But I strive to look at like 4 meals a day for kids. And what I found now living with children is that they're pretty good, like breakfast and lunch, and then it's that time in between lunch and dinner where they start being like around 4 p.m., like right around now when we're recording. I bet they're downstairs being like, Dad, can I have a banana? Can I have some crackers? Right. And so if they eat, they're actually ready for a meal right then, but they might snack, but then they're not going to be really hungry at dinner time. But if they have a snack at like 3:30 maybe, so, or maybe like a small meal, and then they have another like earlier lighter dinner at 5:30, that seems to work really well. What's interesting is that snacking in general is not a good idea for anybody really, but we feel like it's okay for kids, but then we're training them to be snackers, and then they become adults who are snackers, which leads to digestive issues later on. And so I think it is really helpful to train kids to not snack, but if they are actually hungry, to have a meal.
Yeah, that's so interesting because here in the States, I feel like people eat dinner maybe a little bit later than in Finland, like maybe 6, 7. And then in Finland, it's like around 5. But then there's a thing called iltapala, which is like evening snack, which is like what everybody does. It's like a part of the whole how it works. And I guess that would be just with the same system, like breakfast, lunch, super early dinner, and then that evening snack would be the 4. But then that would be like later, way later than the 6 though. So I just
right. And there's lots of cultures. I mean, I was in Spain last year, and dinner in Spain is at 10 p.m.
Yeah, that's super late.
It's like ridiculous. So here I was trying to live on an Ayurvedic schedule, and I actually just ended up skipping dinner. You know, I would have, and lunch often was like at 2 or 3. So I would have breakfast and then a really nice sized lunch and then not eat again. It does depend on the person and the constitution, for sure. There's people that can go longer in between eating. There are people that can that need to eat more frequently. But for in general, it's best not to be digesting when you go to sleep at night.
Yeah, I'm excited about this challenge. I'm gonna be there.
I'm so glad you're joining. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more I could say about it, but it's great. And one thing I do really explain to people as they begin exploring Ayurveda is to just think about it as an experiment. Like you can always go back to what you were doing before, but there's a reason why it's not working for you, right? Either you're having digestive distress or sleep issues or weight gain or, feeling cloudy headed in the morning or whatever it is. And you're ready to see if something else makes you feel better. So just think of it as an experiment. It doesn't have to be like laying down the law of like nothing can change this ever in the future. You just try it and see, and then your own experience is the validation that helps you make the change ultimately.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like Hannah told me I can't, right? No, I just said try it and see. I will say Ayurveda has in particular has changed my life. I was had a lot of health issues before, chronic constipation and anxiety and depression and a lot of inflammation in my body. Allergies, really bad seasonal allergies. Like this time of year, I used to just be really sick. And I just feel like, oh, so many people need this. And especially at this time when it's not so good just to rely on being able to go to the doctor right now, right? Like we need to be practicing sustainable health. Really, when we come back to that theme of sustainability, sustainable health is for all of us to take responsibility for our health. We can't just be like, oh, I'm not going to sleep, I'm going to eat crap, and then I'm going to show up at the doctor and be like, give me a medication to fix it, right? We really need to take responsibility, like we need to take responsibility for the earth, right? Like our bodies are of the earth. They will go to the earth one day. And how do we want to maintain that inner and outer ecosystem sustainably? So I think these conversations are so important, and working with that concept of sustainability from lots of different angles is so crucial.
Yes.
So
yes.
Thanks for the work you're doing in the world too, Aino.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for this talk. I'm pretty sure that anybody who is willing to watch will learn something new and will get inspired.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.